No. What was that guy said something? Oh, yeah. 80 years ago, nominated the one. Yeah.
All right, I thank you.
Okay. Sure which one to go with Grand Ole Opry.
15 to break.
Now, that's counting. No, I know, that's going down. I'm sure that's farming.
There you go.
You on a field trip today?
It was not, but I know a lot of people. He was driving the bus.
Oh, he was driving the bus.
Yeah. They had a little bit of a slow start. They had a tire or something that was a problem. They had to fix. Did you count how many we have? Do we need 12?
What? So I seen you were, wait a minute. I seen you were.
Send that.
Yeah.
Clean up.
No, they're putting the box culvert in.
12 is a quarter.
There you go. What I was wondering.
They will ask, she will ask for permission.
One from each direction. And one right there. Actually, if they might have pulled it, put that box culvert in, it's just right there by that box culvert. But they'll put that back in. If they do, they do. If they don't, I will.
Yeah.
Then there's one coming from that side. Right there, this side, the railroad track. I believe there's another one coming this way. That one might be a big part of it. Well, he owns that. Oh, really? Yeah, he owns that. Yeah, he owns that. Well, I think we knew about this job.
How did you know that he was?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Everything you got. Garrett, get that.
Go call it.
Well, not that it's my place, but it's 7 o'clock, so call this meeting to order.
You're doing beautifully. Do we need to make a motion to have it?
That would be great. If somebody wants to make a motion for somebody to temporarily run your meeting tonight, that would be fantastic.
I would like to make a motion for Bobby Orman, who has experience doing that, to run the meeting this evening.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor for Bobby Orman to be your chairman pro tem, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Orman, please assume your seat.
Yeah.
So if we'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer, or roll call.
We need a volunteer for prayer too. You want to do it?
We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
We'll all bow our heads for a moment of prayer. Dear Father in heaven, as we come together tonight to take care of the business of the county, we ask for your blessing and your guidance, that all of our minds and thoughts and words would be directed in your direction and where we need to go. Please protect us on the way home as we depart tonight, and we thank you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Item number 3, approval of the minutes of the I'm sorry, roll call please.
Kenny Barr.
Here.
Barbara Bennett. Here. Mark Bennett. Teresa Bain. Brian Kaufman. Cassie Cox. Dennis Durnovich.
Here.
Jesse Durbin.
Here.
Julie Edwards. Gary Gergany.
Here.
Rod Height.
Here.
Matt Kessler.
Here.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Orman.
Here.
Gary Patterson. Robert Simpson.
Here.
Jeff Slifer. David Switz. Don Tate.
Present.
Lynn Williams.
Here.
13 in attendance. We do have a quorum.
13 present. We have a quorum. Moving on to item 3, approval of the minutes of September 8th, 2022. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make it a motion.
I'll make the motion. Anybody second? Second. Don seconds the motion. Any discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of the September 8th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item 4 on the agenda is approval of the September 20th special meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the September special meeting.
So moved.
Barb makes the motion, Larry makes the second. Any discussion on the special meeting? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item 5 is public body comment. We have a rule of 5 minutes, and if you would, please identify yourself when you start to speak. I will try my best to keep a rolling tally of everybody's remaining time. Come back to public body comment. Kurt?
Thank you, sir. Kirk Allen. I've got several bullet points. A few of them are mine. Many of them have been sent in to us for people that couldn't be here. And it's kind of a collection of things over the past few years. Number 1, there's been no push to recover the improper claims submitted and paid to the former chairman Cannon. Not one mention of recovering any of the illegal sold weapons by the sheriff before Kuntz, meaning a potential liability still looms over the county if anyone is injured with one of those guns. No audit of the sheriff's office, who has had 2 sheriffs resign. No legal opinion on outsourcing payroll. No steps taken to recover overpayments identified in the forensic audit. No steps taken to determine how underpayments are going to be addressed, which should include the use of the actual log-in, log-out times they claim to determine their work hours when we FOIA'd it. No attorney for the board yet to deal with those matters. No steps taken to bid out the sale of the grain, which is a very simple matter, even though some have tried to imply it's a complicated process. I don't know where you're at on your harvest yet for your beans. Now another auditor has washed their hands of the county. No board discussion pertaining to them being named in a frivolous union grievance filing from ASME, who is demanding the treasurer sign a contract in which she had no vote or bargaining involvement. We understand the treasurer's attorney has filed appropriate responses, but no word on what the county board is doing in that case. I suspect most don't even know that there's a case that you're supposed to answer to. Any update on the website creation for the county? Any update on placing the advertisement for the county engineer opening on a website? Several months ago that was approved to spend money to do that. The current state site posting still had one posted for the vacancy of Mr. Spessard, which, by the way, that criminal investigation is alive and still gathering information. I understand the bond requirements for the custom farming have not been submitted and they're waiting on the insurance company. I don't recall any discussion on what the county will do if no bond is provided. No response to multiple requests for the crop yield history on the farm ground. The county chairman is the only one that can get that information, but so far he's not responded to any request for that. No discussion about the $5 an hour raise given to a highway employee in the spring, which I understand he deserved according to the past engineer. But then a few months later, got a $3 an hour raise. That's $8 an hour in 6 months. That's a pretty good deal. Not sure that any other county folks got that, but more importantly, how is it that the county board controls the wages in a department rather than the engineer or the acting engineer? New body cameras, another unfunded mandate, and not any discussion about the cameras purchased by Coots and never put in service. Jessica, forgive me for laughing, but your email to the county board with the auditor was spot on and priceless, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Most importantly, and I quote, "Now is the perfect time for the county board to assume 100% responsibility in all functions of a search for the county auditor, as should have been done in past years," unquote. In closing, responsibility and accountability take work, and it's clear only a few on this board are willing to actually do that work and demand accountability, and as they are a minority, nothing gets done. I am convinced a county board with 22 members will be plagued forever with an inability to function as a unit for the interest of the taxpayers.
Any other public body comment? Well, I'd like to speak up, and there's several things that he mentioned in there that I'd made notes of. And this morning when I learned that Whitley had resigned as our auditor, it really kind of solidified some things in my head. Because last year, you know, we spent about $60,000 or $70,000 on the audit from Weston Company, but they alluded to me that there was far more resources on their end spent on our audit than what they billed us for. So 2 years in a row, they took a bath on our audit. And when Whitley bid our audit, at what they did, I just kind of shook my head because I had no idea how they were going to be able to do it. Being the first year, so they've got to get all of our information in a system so they can, you know, analyze it, you know, the way they need to test it and do their work. So that takes time. You know, the setup takes time. And how we had a second-year auditor telling us that we had probably a $100,000 audit. How a first-year auditor can tell us that it's going to be, I think it was $44,000 in the bid, was it? I don't remember. But anyway, significantly less, probably 60. Yeah, it was 65,000 or 66,000. But irregardless, how they could look at that audit, look at our previous audits, and move forward, it just kind of blew me away a little bit. The other thing is you know, our legal counsel isn't here. And we have not heard, to my knowledge, we have not heard anything about the legal counsel that we need for following up on the forensic audit. It was interesting that the auditors, our fiscal year audit, he talked about how well our IMRF standings were, but yet in the forensic audit, the IMRF department, the state IMRF department, if there are errors, which a $300,000 discrepancy plus and minus, both, this means that there are errors in the IMRF line items that were paid out. That means that those need to be taken care of because IMRF is requiring 3 years of correction. So we need to get, the board needs to get legal counsel on how to move forward to correct the IMRF part of it. And I didn't set the timer, so I'm probably about done. But anyway, the Whitfield resignation, we need to get our heads together, need a committee together to put together the scope, you know, like Jessica's email said, and I'll second that she was spot on. The board needs to own that, you know, the board is the keeper of the funds, so we need to know exactly who, why, what, and how each dollar is spent. And if we set the scope of the audit, then we can move forward with an audit that we can actually work with. So anyway, with that, I'll open the floor back up for anybody else public body comment.
Actually, Derek had asked if I'd read his letter of resignation.
Very good.
Okay. Derek Piercy couldn't be here tonight, but he did ask me if I would please read his letter of resignation. Fellow board members and public, sorry I could not be here in person. I spent the last 2.5 years looking after everyone else and didn't take care of myself. So I now need to step away to put myself first in order to take care of my family. Each day I wake up now feels like a bonus day that wasn't guaranteed, and I plan to make the most of each day. We should all do that. I've enjoyed my time on the board, made new friends, and learned a lot. I hope I lived up to the oath of office, upheld the Constitution, and represented the people within the constraints of the law. I originally accepted the appointment in order to help protect the people. Unfortunately, I still must protect my own kids, and they need the strongest version of me possible to do that. Please accept this letter as my resignation. Thank you, Derek Piercy.
Any other public body comment?
My name is Lori Nelson. I'm a Shelby County taxpayer. I came across some information this week regarding the body cams for the sheriff's office. It's interesting that the sponsor of a sweeping criminal justice reform passed in 21, known as the Safety Act, which has been in the news a lot lately, is under investigation. Senator L.G. Sims is a Democrat from Chicago. He is the big push behind the body cam legislation in the Safety Act. Which concerns me, that we would have a contract that's $84,000 over the next 5 years. We already owe money on that. However, it was under the premise that the body cameras would be required January 1st. People are expecting that to start this January. A county our size is not required to have that until January of 2025. So we've entered, it seems like the county has entered a contract for something that's not actually mandated by law. And kind of the catch is, I would just ask that the county board would step away from that contract, even though it may have a small penalty. It wouldn't be $85,000 worth of a penalty. There are 30 counties who have already filed suit against aspects of that Safety Act. So it's going to be legislated, and by the time it gets through the courts, we still won't have that deadline to meet. So we have time. I just ask as a taxpayer that you would respect that timeline and the origins of what that push was about. Thank you.
Any other public? Sonny?
Sonny Ross from Windsor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak. Item number 10, discussion and vote on a letter of agreement with Bellwether for FY 23-24. Looking at the landscape of board members that are currently on that are not running for re-election, I would ask this board to table that and allow the future board to decide which direction they would like to go with that instead of binding them. Item number 13, Jessica, I apologize, I just want to ask you, the county tax levy it failed by roll call at the 9/8?
It failed by roll call,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. The other one I saw, it said it tabled, and I
Right,
saw your
that was
vote
mine,
there.
yeah.
I appreciate that. So my question to the county board, any members that voted for the budget but voted against the levy? That's a conflicted vote. They're a handshake. If the levy doesn't pass, where does the money for the budget come from? I'm completely perplexed that a budget can pass, but a levy can't pass. Hopefully we'll get some information on that. This item, along with many others, no information prior to the board meeting. I see item 14, we're discussing and voting to approve some county ambulance levy. There's been no information given about that I can get my hands on, so it's really it's difficult to come into these meetings educated when there's a single sentence line item and no further information. So hopefully, we can get to a place where items on the agenda are sent with information so that actual educated votes can be passed. Thank you for your time.
Any other public body comment?
I just want to publicly thank Derek for his service, and I know a lot of people got a lot of information from him, and he was pretty knowledgeable. He really tried to be knowledgeable, tried to do the right thing, and tried to inform people the best as he could. So I just want to publicly thank him for that. Thank him for his service.
Any other public body comment? Public body comment? Third time, public body comment. Hearing none, we'll move on to item 6, which is I reluctantly will announce the vacancy of County Board District Number 2, Derek Piercy, and his resignation. Then moving on to 7, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Cody.
Do we need a motion to accept his resignation or not?
No.
I'm just, we ever asked that before.
No? I make a motion to accept his resignation. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Item 7 is a discussion and vote to approve appointment of Cody Brands to County Board District 2 to replace Derek Piercy upon the recommendation of the Republican Central Committee. I'll make a motion that we approve the appointment of Cody Brands to County Board District 2. Give me a second.
I'll second.
Sharon seconds. Any discussion?
Is he here? I'd like to
Yeah.
see who he is, or.
Yep, there's Cody.
I just didn't know him.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Nay.
Barb, nay. Motion passes 12 to 1. If you would come forward and take your oath, please.
Raise your right hand for me. I state your name.
I, Cody Brands,
Having been appointed
have been appointed
to the office of
to the office of
Shelby County Board District 2
Shelby County Board District 2
in the county of Shelby
in the county of Shelby
in the state of Illinois,
in the state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
the duties in the office of
Shelby County Board District 2
Shelby County Board District
to the best of my ability.
2 to the best of my ability. No, I didn't do like a 4-year contract. I'm not getting locked in anything.
Yeah, you
They
are.
got me one time. I don't want to do it again.
Just need you to sign for me, and then you can take your seat on the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 8. Discussion and vote to approve the bid from Ayers for 3-inch ortho imagery across Shelby County for 2023 in the amount of $119,925. The new flight expense budgeted for FY23 out of the GIS fund. Is this your department?
Yes, we use this daily.
Debbie, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Would you like to elaborate on what this is about?
Well, it's our GIS, which is our informational, it's our flight that they fly through the whole county. We have not had one since 2018. I attempted for 2 years to get the 911 grant through Christian Shelby County, and that never did come about, so I made sure that I put in the budget, the GIS budget for this year, so we could get a flight in the spring. And we use it for soils, for flood areas, for, oh gosh, everything, for just the whole county. Jessica's office uses it for taxing or for voting districts, and there's just numerous things. The zoning uses it also.
So this,
And we make all the changes in my office with any kind, like if there's splits or anything, we do all those changes in-house.
so this is an actual fixed-wing plane that flies over and does a survey?
Yes, yes. I don't know how they do it, or I don't know all the technical stuff about it, no. I don't fly with it.
So,
Before it used to be, I believe, 6-inch out in the county and 3-inch in the more populated areas. They upgraded those so much that now it's 3-inch through the whole county. So it's better resolution, you can see things better, and we really need it to catch things, because not everybody gets building permits, not every, and so many townships don't even have township assessors anymore. I myself have gone out to 12 different townships to assess this year. We have 24 of them, and I just had another township tell me that they're losing their township assessor. I mean, it's critical. And we use that, we use Facebook, we use realtors, sites, everything to try to pick up what we can. It's very useful, and we
So-
have to have it.
right, so the flight, and I'm gonna, this is some devil's advocate questions, because I use other stuff when I look at aerial maps, but, so when we get the flight done, what's the difference in the flight picture versus satellite picture and the results and the informational feedback that we get out of that? And the only reason I ask that is if we're getting, is this for your office to make the maps, like the parcel maps,
We use
the,
it for assessment purposes. It's
Right.
for our parcel identifications, it's everything. And like I said, we have taxing districts, we have land use on it, we have, our flood areas on it, soils, which is very important because, we all know farmland is based on productivity by the soil types, and all that is in there, and it calculates the many different ones and how many acres of each in a piece of property. We have to have it. In the 70s, they just drew it on, they had a flight and then they would draw on these paper things. And I don't know. We can't do our work.
I got a question. So you put that in the budget and the budget's been approved, is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
It's in
so
the
I move.
GIS, it's in the GIS budget,
Oh,
yes.
okay, for the GIS. So I'll make up that motion to go ahead and do this.
Well, we have to have it to do our assessment. We have to have it.
Okay.
Is this needed by law? I'm sorry.
I need a second.
I'll second.
I had, yeah,
Rod.
Rod, I had Rod back here in a second. Boy, I completely lost my names.
I mean, the public uses it too. I mean, everybody uses it. We have it,
Go ahead, Cody, question.
Is this actually needed like through the state of Illinois, is there just like?
every county has it, yes.
Is there like so many years you have to have it, or is it just a want?
No, you have to update it. a lot. Some people update theirs every year, some counties update them every 2 or 3 years. Like I said, we haven't had them since 2018.
I think his question is this, are you compelled by statute to do this? Or is this just a tool that you like to use, that counties use?
I couldn't tell you if there's a statute for it.
So it's just a very helpful tool. When was the last time you guys had one?
2018.
2018.
We've always had a flight. You don't have a flight, we don't assess.
But this to assess taxes on the taxpayers, correct?
Like I said, I'm not an expert in it, I don't know, I just know what we use it for. And we always have it, use it every day.
So what this
It's
does,
imagery. It's not live imagery, it's just done at a specific time of the year.
right, good. The one thing that I had a question, and I'm gonna elaborate on geolocation. Would you elaborate on orthoimagery? I think that's kind of what we're, like, it says 3-inch orthoimagery, so we're talking about 3-inch accuracy on the boundary line or topography or, because this is quite intriguing, because I use this all the time.
Well,
I use GISs all the time, so that's why I'm asking questions.
it will just give us a better look and clarity.
Okay, so kind
I sent information out that was on the bid, and the errors, did you read what errors sent? It
I've
should
got it.
explain all that in there. I mean, I'm no GIS person. I can measure on there, I can look things up,
so
but
part
I
of,
have someone in my office who does all of our changes and splits and everything, otherwise it would have to go into our vendor, Bruce Harris.
Kurt,
I think one of the important things for everybody, this is gonna be in the spring before the leaves are on, is the biggest thing it does, it gives the assessors instant viewing of where new buildings and things have been built, and it's a huge time saver from an assessment standpoint.
It is a very huge
I mean,
time
it
saver.
really is. That's why they do it this time of year, is because it automatically tells them, hey, they've got a new building here, we need to go out and assess. Whereas the others, if nothing's changed from year to year, they can do it right there on it and not have to go out, you know, and physically do any of the measuring and things like that.
I just spent last week out assessing several different townships and put over 300 miles doing that. Only based on building permits and driving around and finding things. I don't have the time or the manpower to do that all the time. I have my own work to do in my office. This does save time, and like I said, we have to have it. It's not just to do. And Jessica has to have it, we all have to have it.
Do you anticipate doing it every 4 or 5 years?
I like that, it really needs done at least every 2 years. And like I said, I attempted for 2 years to get a grant, and those all fell through. Those were not done through my office, they were done through the 911, Christian Shelby County 911, and that would have been a much more detailed flight. And then the first year they had tried to apply for it, the 911 person in Christian County who was doing the left. The next year, it got denied. Because the Christian County 911 did it at that time too. We're in the Christian County. Now, I know Moultrie County did get theirs, but they got theirs a year or 2 ago.
and the GIS fund is like a special fund that's,
It's funded through recordings, I believe.
Yeah, it's funded by the recorder.
so it's a special fund, so it's
It is a
basically,
special fund.
it doesn't come out of the general fund, it into that special funds.
Use ARPA money.
So,
There's no.
I had a call for a vote. Is there any more questions?
That's all right.
Might as well ask one. We got the floor open. All right, we'll take a roll call vote on this.
Kenny Bar,
I did have it properly motion and second, correct? Yeah.
yes, Lynn and
Lynn.
Rod.
Yeah, okay, we can roll call vote.
Kenny Barr,
Yes.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands,
Nay.
Dennis Sturdivich,
Yes.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Matt Kessler,
No.
Larry Lenz,
Yeah.
Sharon Ogman,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Robert Simpson,
Yeah.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
How many yeses is that?
11, 2 nays, Brands and Kessler.
Motion fails.
Wait a second, 13. 13, because Julie's here now. 1, 2, and Cody's been seated. So it was
Did you vote?
13, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 ayes, 2 nays, Brands and Kessler.
Okay.
Because there's
Motion
15
passes.
now, so.
Moving on to item 9.
Thank you. Sorry I have to accept, but I have to.
No, like I said,
Either,
I use GIS all the time, so I was really intrigued this is on the
but I don't
book.
know what your GIS is that you do. We go on Google too, and Google's different. but-
No, I just jump on Shelby County GIS when I want to know something.
Right, well, you'll be able to search that with the new map.
Cool. Item 9 is the county highway report, and it looks like you have the floor.
Yep, Reed Best, I'm presenting for the highway department. First thing on the list is getting another supplemental work agreement for 2023 for Hammond and Reed to help with layout and construction oversight and other items that they kind of help us out with, just because we're a small staff right now, so that's kind of where that's what we've done in 2021 and 22 as well. And 2021 and 2022, their rate was $60 an hour, and they're usually out for an hour or two and get what we need. But this year, it's $65 an hour is what their rate is.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Jesse, second by Bob, to approve the supplemental work agreement with Hammond and Reed. Roll call. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take a roll call.
Kenny Barr,
Yeah.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands,
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivich,
Yes.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Matt Kessler,
Yes.
Larry Lenz,
Yes.
Sharon Ogman,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Robert Simpson,
Yeah.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next is an engineering agreement between Shelby County and Hampton, Lenzini, and Rendswick to perform our 2023 NBIS bridge inspections and also manage our bridge program, which is required by law to have a program manager for the program. And there's 161 bridges that are due to be inspected in 2023, and then they'll also have the full 12 months of providing a program manager, which is required. And their estimate was $105,000 is their estimated cost.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement with the highway department and Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick for bridge inspections and management program?
I'll make it.
Barb makes the motion. Sharon seconds. Any discussion?
Was this all, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
was this all in the budget for this year?
This is actually being paid for by county MFT money. Yep.
Okay.
So the classic question of mine is, it's $110,000. Is this, one of those services that's bid kind of on a past history, working relationship thing?
Yes, it is, yep.
So there's actually not a bid put out to other agencies for this service?
Yeah, no, there's just a satisfactory working relationship with HLR, yep. And whenever you have to use the other way where you take in everyone else's information, you can't base it off of cost. It's everything else but cost is how you choose their quality-based selection, what's called. But yeah, this isn't using that method.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Barbara Bennett.
Yes.
Cody Brands.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivant.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany.
Yeah.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Matt Kessler.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Orman.
Yes.
Robert Simpson.
Yes.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, the next is just a funding resolution to pay for those inspections we just approved. I made it $110,000 because the $105,000 was an estimate, so this will, save us from possibly having to revise it if it goes over by a couple $1,000.
So the motion would be to approve the funding for the agreement we just agreed on.
I'll
So
make that move.
Bob makes the motion, second.
Yeah.
Don seconds. Any discussion?
What happened last year, I mean, I know there was probably the same kind of this funding resolution and so forth. Did they exceed the funding resolution, do you know?
No, it was right on par, actually. We're still actually getting bills in from them because that was for the entire 2022 year. So if there is an issue, they're going to be the ones that respond to it and give us a kind of a plan of action moving forward. So, but they're right around what they estimated it would be.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
No, that's it, didn't it? Or you
No,
did?
Don did.
Don did. Any
Okay.
other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Barbara Bennett.
Yes.
Cody Brands.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivant.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yeah.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany.
Yes.
Rod Height.
Yes.
Matt Kessler.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Orman.
Yes.
Bob Simpson.
Yes.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Floor is yours.
All right, there's a utility that needs to move off of the Westerville Bridge project. We've been trying to get this settled for a long time, but now we're in full swing in construction and it still hasn't been moved. But we finally come to an agreement, and so we have a written relocation agreement between Shelby County and Ameren to move these poles. And they're right outside of right-of-way, so we have to pay them to move them because we purchased more right-of-way. And their estimated cost is $57,817.62. And we've got a way to pay that 80% with the federal grant that's paying for the bridge. So 80% is going to be covered by the federal grant, and then we can match that other 20% with the state fund. So 0% is coming out of the local budget for that move.
So moved.
Lynn makes a motion.
Second.
Jesse seconds.
These are wood poles?
Yeah.
How many?
4 of them.
The motion was made to bind the agreement between Shelby County and Ameren for $57,817.62 for relocation of poles. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Kenny Barr.
Yes.
Barbara Bennett.
Yes.
Cody Brands.
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivant.
Yes.
Jesse Durbin.
Yes.
Julie Edwards.
Yes.
Gary Gergany. Rod Height.
Yes.
Matt Kessler.
Yes.
Larry Lenz.
Yes.
Sharon Ongman.
Yes.
Bobby Orman.
Yes.
Bob Simpson.
Yes.
Don Tate.
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Then the last one is an amendment to the Westerville Bridge Joint Agreement. So this is just allowing us to use this federal grant and the state fund to pay for the utility adjustment. So yeah, that's all I got.
So,
Did you need a motion for the adjustment?
Yes, for the amendment to the joint agreement, yep. There was, that other one was the actual relocation agreement itself. That's gonna be signed by many members of the county, and then.
So moved.
Yep.
So, Lynn makes the motion to approve the amendment to the Westerville Bridge Joint Agreement to pay utility adjustment. Sharon seconds.
Yeah.
I got Sharon.
Oh, okay.
Any discussion? So just to clarify, this is the amendment to the agreement,
Yep.
and we just funded it, correct? We just funded it in the previous vote, now we're gonna go through with the amendment.
The
So-
previous vote was the actual agreement itself, that we agreed to pay for this relocation. That was the past vote. And then this vote here is to amend the joint agreement, which a joint agreement is something between the state and us. That's kind of saying how we're paying for the bridge. Yeah, so it's just allowing us to pay for the utility adjustment added to the grant money, because we were under.
Everybody understand? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Point of order, did we need to do a roll call on that, Bob?
There's no money.
No money on that.
We already did the
Roll
Okay,
call.
I know we did that, but, okay, all right.
Yeah, because that's why I was clarifying, we just funded what we just passed in the amendment. So, we funded it, and then we passed the amendment. So,
We're good to go.
we're good to go, should be. If not, it was unanimous, all ayes. Sharon?
because we're on the county highway department, my question is, there's a job posting right now for a laborer. And I guess my question is it because somebody quit? Is it, or who approved it, or, who decided to post it? And then who will review the applications and who will do interviewing?
So there was a job posting for the highway department?
Shelby County Highway Department, job description, laborer.
If there was a resignation of labor resigned, yeah, so we posted out, we can have an opening now.
Yes, starting salary, $35,000 a year. And then it gives, so that's just an automatic if somebody did resign, or?
Yes. Yep.
They're replacing an employee that resigned.
Okay.
And we had a Road and Bridge Committee meeting, and we had voted at the meeting to, because we asked who will be interviewing, this person. And so we had kind of talked about setting up interviews for a Road and Bridge Committee meeting during that same time. So then maybe some members of the board can interview this person along with us, and also our acting county engineer would be involved in that as well, is what our hopes would be.
Do they have to have a CDL?
Yes.
Well, your acting engineer should be able to make those decisions, didn't it? So, that's,
Might be an easy answer there.
there's probably a very easy answer to that, so.
I think
Any
kind
other
of the way he talked,
I
he
got a
wanted
question
everybody's
for Reed.
input, though.
Just a while ago, you and I and Stacy were talking about County Highway 5 on Phase 1. On Phase 2, have they started buying up any easements yet?
No, we haven't yet.
Okay.
No, we still haven't hired a design firm to do that. But once we have a design firm, then we know our limits on how much area we're gonna take up with the new project. Then from there, we can start purchasing right away based on how much room we need.
Okay, after you do the easements and stuff, and then it's gonna be, what, another year after that before they do the actual paving?
Well, it just kind of depends on, once the design gets done and it gets all through all the channels of the state that need to review it,
Yeah,
and when we can get it on state letting.
okay.
Yep, so it's hard telling on timing wise.
Thank you.
I don't remember whether it was reported last month, but they did get the Hinton Bridge fixed and it's back open too. I don't know whether that was reported last month or not.
Yep, Hinton
Where
Bridge
the
is back
state
open.
closed, shut it down. It's been repaired.
So repaired and reopened the Hinton
Reopened.
Bridge?
Yep,
Is that there on the Hinton Blacktop, I take it?
you know, just a mile and a
West.
quarter west of Hinton.
Yeah.
Been a while since I've ventured up there. Any other questions, comments, discussion? I think we'll move on, thank you.
Thank you.
So item 10 is the discussion and vote to approve a letter of agreement with Bellwether Budget Services, with Bellwether Budget Services for FY '23 and '24 for $12,000. In your board packets, there was a letter of agreement. I'll make a motion that we table this, and I'll ask for a second.
I'll second.
Julie seconds. We got a motion to table and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No.
No.
Okay, can I get a hand raise, please?
So we had Jesse, Barb, and Bob. Lynn,
And Kenny and Matt. Okay,
so
thank
there
you.
were
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nays to table.
6 nays to table, so that meant there are
9.
9 approved, so that motion fails. We meant 22 before. So, motion fails to table. I'll let somebody else take the floor. On item 10. Is there a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion.
Barb makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second it.
Jesse makes a second. Discussion, please. Sharon?
I think that because this is for the 23-24 budget year, that doesn't go into place till next year. I think this is something for money being spent on a new budget, that the new county board should be the ones to make that decision. You're only putting it off then like 2 months. But I think it should be the new board because they will be the one that will be controlling that.
Are we not
Any
happy,
other discussion?
are we not happy with their services or something? I'm trying to understand the point of tabling it. Are we not happy with with the services that they gave us that they gave us going forward?
So, the reason I felt like, I agree with Sharon, that's why I made the motion to table. Also, I have to speak up to this because I was on the budget committee. Last year, yeah, we ground the gears and we went round and round on a lot of things with the budget. We learned a lot of things about the budget too. This year, we had one budget meeting for sure prior to the budget proposal being proposed to the board. So that meant that out of the almost 8 or 9 meetings we had last year, we got that condensed down to 1 or 2. So what happened was all these meetings that were had were not open meetings. It was Bellwether and a department head, Bellwether and board chair, whoever. So there was never any open discussion about the proposed budgets of what everybody had. I mean, you take every office in the courthouse and every subsidiary, office of the highway department or health department or any of them, they submit budgets, and quite frankly, on the budget committee, I don't recall ever seeing their proposed budget until way late in the process. Last year, we started in June, I believe, in late May or June, with the budget process. And so me personally, I was not thrilled with the process. It was put together and put in front of us, I feel. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna speak to this as well, because I've been involved with the budget process in this county since 2013. And prior to this year, it's been like watching paint dry. At one time, they just reviewed an overall budget instead of going through line by line, and then eventually they did start going through line by line. The reason there weren't that many meetings this year is because nobody would communicate with Bellwether. Bellwether wanted to have more meetings than the meetings that they had. This was literally the first time in 9 years that every single department head got to say their piece and meet with Bellwether, and it was the chair and the vice chair. And the reason they did that is because they're like, we've got to make progress with this. They also said I sat right there and they're like, reduce it by 5%. And when I walked out of that room, my budget had been reduced by 5%. There were not numerous committee meetings where nothing was accomplished like there had been in years past. The plan is for Bellwether to get the county on track with their budget instead of us continually passing budgets that are millions, deficit, as well as the tax levy. And it's just like Sonny said, we paid this company to do this tax levy, and I know there's issues. Once again, it all boils down to members of the board's unwillingness to communicate and work together, and that's what the problem has been. That's why there literally were 2 meetings, because it's like herding cats, and I hate to say that, but it is. This board has failed to communicate, and therefore we are literally failing the people because the communication has ceased. So I will say, I agree, it probably should be something for the other board, but I will say Bellwether, it was a fantastic experience, from an office holder, as somebody who had sat through many meetings before and saw 0 accomplished. So that's just my opinion.
How could the process be tweaked with Bellwether to?
Well,
to make it a
I'll
little
be honest
better
with you,
for
I
buyers?
really think that moving forward, I'm hoping that once the committees get in place and the committee structure, I'm hoping that there's some leadership and some communication. I mean, we don't ask questions just to be asking the board their opinion. We ask because we need input. And when we fail to even pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I got your email, let me think about it, and I'll get back with you. But there has been nothing, 0 for months. I can't even the last time I was able to get an agenda out a week before the board meeting was December of 2019. It is routinely Tuesday afternoon, 4, 5. I've made 3 trips. I had outpatient surgery one day, 3 trips before 7 to post the agenda because of the changes. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. So I would strongly encourage the new board when they are elected, please communicate. And there's no reason for this last minute stuff. You get your meetings a year in advance. Sorry, stepping off soapbox.
Tell us what you really think.
No, I would tag along on our soapbox because, as a board member, how it is feasible that you can get something on even a Tuesday before the Thursday, which many of us are busy. You may not see it till Wednesday. It comes out Tuesday afternoon, or a board packet that comes out. I mean, I took a look at the board packet today. Yeah, there was about 165 pages if you got through all of it. There's some rules of the board that might have to be adjusted when the board gets readjusted in December. But quite frankly, transparency with Bellwether whether it was Bellwether's fault or not is irrelevant. The process that happened this year was unsatisfactory in my book. So, anyway, any other discussion on Bellwether contract? Barb?
The only comment I wanted to make is, all the years of, when the new board comes on, they're not gonna have any idea of the structure and how to do a budget. I mean, you can do budgets, but how it all works here in the county is different. So if you have Bellwether kind of as your leader, is to show you how to get this thing done, get it going, then that's your asset right there. And for $12,000, that's not bad. You need someone to show them, because they think they can do all this stuff on their own. Well, you can't. You're gonna have to have some kind of leadership with all this. I was on the budget committee for years, and you need someone, because we usually use Jessica. She was always our leader through our budgets.
I thought it was money well spent myself. I mean, I was impressed with them. I don't know. The amount of money the county uses, $12,000, is very much to get us lined out on a balanced budget.
And I would say it is a third-party opinion, so when a budget gets cut or a levy gets cut, it's up to us to approve it as the board. So if they put the numbers on paper and we approve it, then, you know, it was an unbiased approach. But it's kind of the why there was so much discrepancy on the health department, or mental health getting cut $300,000. I had Sharon over here.
I agree with Barb that it's good leadership and stuff, you know, for the board to help us with that. But I still feel spending that amount of money for next year's budget, that we should wait for the new board, for them to approve it.
And I do think that since Bellwether's done this once, he has a pretty good idea of what the structure is. And if in January the new board would approve it, if not approved tonight, then it's probably a plug-and-play situation for Bellwether, I hope. I had some more hands up over here.
I just was gonna second Sharon's comment that I've not been involved with the budget process or anything else at all, but Bellwether, Jessica seems to think that they did a reasonable job, but I still think that it ought to be the responsibility of the board that comes in December to make this decision.
This is a way to guide everybody through Bellwether. I believe it's a good thing for the new board coming on, that they will have some directions where they can go through Bellwether and make their jobs more transparent with efficiency.
You're saying they're bringing some continuity? That's what you, like, because they're bringing some experience, they've already been here, they've seen it, now they're coming in, there's a lot of new people, but they're still coming in with some experience.
Any other discussion?
Because I think it's a nice consideration for future board members, but based upon that, making decisions that will affect future board members, we're making decisions all the time, every meeting that affect future board members, so I don't find that super persuasive. What I find persuasive is that they give us did they do a really good job? Were they very helpful? Can we ask them to reasonably tweak their process that is more communicative, more helpful maybe with board members? Yeah, I think they certainly would listen to that, so.
Cody?
What was there a deficit this last tax year?
The 21 actual ending numbers?
Yeah, that Bellwether did.
Well, the only thing that Bellwether's done so far is set up the fiscal year 22-23 budget. So it would be from September of 22 to August 23. So that's the only thing that he's worked on so far. I'm sorry, Bellwether. So we won't know how those numbers shake out until August of next year. Any other discussion? So I had a motion, properly made motion and second to approve the letter of agreement with Bellwether Budget Services for FY 23-24 for $12,000. Roll call.
Kenny Barr,
Yes.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands,
No.
Dennis Cernovich,
Yes.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
No.
Gary Gergany,
No.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Matt Kessler,
Yes.
Larry Lenz,
Yes.
Sharon Ongman,
No.
Bobby Orman,
No.
Bob Simpson,
Yes.
Don Tate,
No.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
There are 9 ayes and 6 nays. Brands, Edwards, Gergany, Ongman, Orman, and Tate.
Motion fails. So, item 10, motion failed to approve the letter of agreement. Moving on to item 11, discussion and vote to approve the body camera quote and contract rewrite between Axon Enterprises and Shelby County Sheriff's Office for $85,000, budgeted for FY 23. The quote was, the 21 quote was $86,808. Sheriff, I'd like to let you have the floor.
Well, I don't know as I have that much to say other than, just a little reminder. This was something that I inherited, didn't ask for to start with, but it was sitting there. We didn't have the money in our budget to pay it, so we started talking to Axon, and finally this Monday, on Columbus Day, is when this contract rewrite came in. And it's very close to the same thing. It's $900 overall less. The start date or the first payment date they have down is October of this year, and so they moved the contract on the calendar some for the start.
Is there anybody that'd like to make a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Kenny makes a motion to approve the contract with Axon. Is there a second? Is there a second? Failure to get a proper second to a properly made motion is failed agenda item. Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, did we ever get the other cameras sent back?
No, we still have them at this time.
So,
Now, if it gets tabled, I can let them know that it's tabled, let them ask them if they want them back, or if they want to wait and see what happens, or you want to wait and see what happens with some of the constitutional challenges to the Safety Act, or
weren't we gonna try to get those sent back to get a credit? Was that, I don't know, it's changed a couple times, so I can't quite remember what the plan was.
at one
but-
time, they talked about, us sending them in and getting new ones, but these haven't been used yet, and
Cause
the
these were
last
gonna
time-
be obsolete by the time the thing even came into
There are
effect.
some refreshes built into the contract, which in essence is new cameras down the road, so.
So we're not gonna get billed for these if we don't send them back?
That I don't know, I can't answer that. I mean, the contract at one time was signed, but this is a new contract that they're proposing with new dates on it. I don't know what their reaction is going to be.
I would ask that maybe when you talk to them, get clarification on these old cameras that we have that we're not gonna be able to use by 25 because they're gonna be so outdated. And either get them sent back or figure out what we're gonna do with them, because if not, we're gonna be on the hook for them. And we don't wanna do that if we're gonna have to buy new cameras too. And then we're
Well,
gonna be
new
stuck
cameras
with,
are actually built into this.
right.
Yeah, but
But we don't wanna be stuck paying for the old cameras that we never got to use and will never be able to use because they don't work they're not current anymore. So maybe just kind of pin them down and get an answer of what they want you to do with those old cameras.
Okay.
Please and thank you.
Yep, I can talk to them.
So have you had a chance to read the terms and conditions?
Not today.
Anybody had a chance to read the terms and conditions? 'Cause I'm trying to read it real quick.
I just know it's the plan, not on the sheriff's, not anything toward the sheriff, but with them, the contract has changed, the plan has changed a couple times. So I wasn't sure where we were with that.
Is anybody here from the law enforcement committee?
No,
I don't think you got anybody left on there, do you?
no, there's nobody here. Teresa and Jeff.
Gary Patterson's on there, Derek Piercy was
No,
on there.
Teresa wasn't put
Just
on.
to replace them.
Okay.
Gary?
I would like to move that we table it.
Well, it's
It
not.
failed.
It was just failed to get a proper second.
Oh.
So take the action, I think, so I think Gary's want to take action as far as we're going to table this, so it's still out there. It's not just a failed, anything. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gary.
It may be better if someone else tabled, because I've got one more meeting after tonight, so, that's why I have to be here to take it off the table.
I'll make a motion to.
I'm wondering if it won't give the sheriff maybe a little more comfort in, dealing with the people. You think we didn't vote it down, but we want to discuss it and get more information.
I'll make a motion that we table item 11. Need a second?
I'll second.
Gary seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Item 11 is taken. Moving on to item 12. In your board packets, there is several listings of transfers of parcels from Shelby County as a trustee to new owners. Do I need to roll through these individually? Yeah, looks like I do. Let me find in my board packet. I know it's in here. I just saw it a little bit ago.
Do you need a motion for each one, or can you do it as a whole?
I'm thinking individually, because if there's any discrepancy on any individual, then
Okay.
I think it would be wise. Because,
Or can we make a motion to accept them as a group unless there's an objection to a certain one?
well, make the motion.
But, so barring no objection to any of those items, I just would move that we would accept them as a group, the transfer from the county to the new owners.
So the motion was made to vote and approve resolutions. Is there a second?
Second.
Rod seconds. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, bro. Anyway, so as listed on the agenda, parcel number 0723-16-18-306-008 to Fountain Investments LLC for $1,521. Parcel number 2311-22-07-209-009 and 15, so the same prefix, the last three would be 09 and 15, to Tower Hill Township for $818. Third parcel is 1208-28-02-201-019 to Betty Horton Lewis and Stephen Cartwright for $5,100. Parcel number 1208-32-00-200-022 to Douglas and Amy Peters for $1,555. Parcel number 2013-18-08-203-001 to Fountain Investments LLC for $2,051. Parcel number 2311-22-12-204-001, to Diana Hammond for $2,022. Parcel number 2409-36-18-306-002 to Pittman Realty LLC for $1,300.99. That was a motion made by Matt, seconded by Rod. Any discussion?
Question. Is this from a tax sale? Is that what this is?
Yeah, these will put all these back on the tax rolls.
Okay. What I thought it was, but I just was questioning.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
We're not spending any.
Oh, we're not spending money?
We're getting money.
Getting money.
Very true. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution's carried. Moving on to item 13, discussion and vote to approve the county tax levy. Discussion and vote to approve the county tax levy. And then on the agenda, it says, the correction is the item failed by roll call vote, not tabled, so we can, it's back out for, it's on the agenda, so anybody like to make a motion to approve the levy?
I'll make it.
Barb makes the motion to approve the levy. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Don seconds. Any discussion on the levy?
This was, oh, sorry.
Julie?
This was specifically tabled because of the mental health levy, wasn't it?
It actually wasn't tabled, it failed by roll call vote.
Okay. So,
Can you just remind us of the specifics, if you have that, of the,
It failed because there was discussion regarding the reduction of the mental health,
budget?
tax levy from $600,000 to $450,000.
so then, Bobby, has any movement been made on that? Any changes since the last meeting
No.
regarding that
There
levy?
have been 0 discussions.
I was gonna say, did anybody contact anybody in the budget committee about? Well,
No, I was just gonna say that when we had all the tort levies down to 0, and you have to start levying money for them, and you have to have those monies for them, so you're not gonna have all the money for your mental health. I don't like reducing that mental health either, but we had reduced the other ones to build up our general fund, so now we're at a point now where we're gonna have to reduce some of the others because we have to fill those funds again, your IMRF and all your torts and all that type of thing. So this is why I don't know where else you could pull it from. There's no place in there to pull it from to put it back into the mental health. So I don't know what you would do if there's no money to pull. Unless you want to take it out of the general fund.
yeah, I remember you saying that last meeting, that we had to get it from somewhere else to
Right.
put it back to mental health.
Right. And I don't like reducing it either.
No. What are we gonna do here? We're gonna raise that back up to 600,000, is that what it is?
No, it's 450.
450, right?
Right.
He took it from 600 down to 450, and they voted down. Is that the story?
The discussion was, why did it get pulled down? Can we restore that levy? You know, those are all the questions that were made in the last meeting. And like Barb said, when there's only so many pieces of the pie, and you look at a department that has a surplus in the department, and the rest of the departments are either running at budget or deficit, then you have to move your levy around to keep those departments funded. So that's what she's saying. Lynn?
Not only that, they may have a surplus right now, but I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that within a year, they would not have a surplus after that, and then they would be, is that right?
I don't think it's.
What was the surplus? I remember it was pretty significant.
I'm sorry, could,
What was the surplus? I remember it being kind of significant.
Like 1.6 million or something. I thought they had, or 1.4
I hope
or something.
they're not gonna be out of that next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So, I mean, surplus, I don't think it's gonna take it down to
So,
wipe out their surplus.
no, if you cut their levy by 150,000, there's 1/6 surplus out there, then theoretically it's 10 years.
okay.
However, let's not forget that P-TEL, we're P-TEL County, which means once we make a levy, it is incredibly hard to restore the numbers in which they're levying at. Therefore, if you cut it, a drastic reduction it's devastating to future budgets. So maybe if it's a $150,000 cut to the levy, maybe a $50,000 cut to this levy, but then maybe go 10 on the rest of them to make up the difference, and it makes the levy, makes the whole more appropriate with the budget. Sound about right?
Yeah, but where are you gonna pull it from?
There's
Who's levy gonna cut?
there's other departments that are running fairly well. I'm trying to find my levy now.
Some of these you have to have.
Any other discussion? Cody?
So what is the actual county tax levy? What does it all provide?
The levy is a percentage of funds divvied out to each department by percentage, if my memory serves me right. Maybe not by percentage, I'm trying to find the levy. Here it is.
So when someone's looking at the real estate tax bill, they're seeing this part there, and now what we're saying is the percentage is gonna go down a little bit as what it was years past.
No, because the county's gonna pull so much out of your tax bill. Well, it's gonna pull 100% out of your tax bill, and then the county's got to separate, the board has to separate what the tax bill is into each one of these departments.
It's still taking 100%, it's just not given what it's used to giving to the health department.
Mental health. Correct. That's the 21 levy. I don't have the 22 levy. Anyway, any further questions? Kenny?
This is 600,000, been in the levy for a few years. This ain't the first time it's been, that's what they've been setting every year for a long time. And here you're cutting $150,000, and you're gonna hurt the mental health people and their programs out there. Their programs are what you're gonna hurt. You don't see it till after you do it, and you got them people that out there no dependence on nothing. And I think we're doing a disservice. You think you're saving money, but you're not. You're not saving a darn dime when it boils down to it. You need to leave that at $600,000 and not fool with that money. Well, they got programs out there that tied to that, and they're gonna lose more money now. Not just the $150,000.
Where are you gonna pull it from, Kenny? which levy you gonna pull it out of then? You gotta find that $150,000 in everybody else's levy, so tell us where you're gonna find $150,000, even if you cut like just a regular health department. You can't get $150,000, I mean, they got a surplus also, but you can't pull $150,000. Some of these you have to have, and we were not levying high enough on some of them because we were using the surplus so we could build up some of the other funds, some of the other levies. So now you're at a point now where you have to levy these monies.
I understand it. A
And,
little
you
bit
know,
of
me,
that.
I mean, I'm supporting the mental health too, because I have a special needs daughter.
But, I mean, they haven't raised their levy, their levy's the same what they've always had for years. These other people were not handling their money. And now you're trying to cut theirs to help people that's maybe not doing their job. But this 600,000, mental health has had that for years, for quite a few years.
We've always tried to keep theirs at a high
And they
tax
haven't
rate,
increased
yes.
it, they kept it the same. And here we're gonna cut it more, it's gonna help the more handicapped people that can't do it.
That's why they have over $1 million and more in excess, because we've always maintained that levy at 600 and some thousand. I'd like to keep it at 600 and some thousand too, but you have to be realistic about some of this stuff also.
It would be different if they raised it up like that, but this has been their levy all along. And this is what they base their programs on. I think we're doing disservice for the community by doing this, but that's just one old man's opinion.
Gary? We're not cutting their budget, correct?
No.
We're talking about the money coming in. They'll still have the budget that they asked for. They may have to take a little bit of money, or a lot of money, out of their savings, on their money they've stored up. But they've still got the same budget they asked for. So it's not gonna cut program, maybe this year, it might down the road. But I don't know when they're gonna run through their $1 million+ that's sitting there in savings. And I'm supportive of mental health programs too. I hate to see it cut.
But when you cut them, you don't help them.
No, but as I say, we're talking the levy, not their budget. And I think we keep thinking about we're taking it away from the budget and hurting people. And in the long run, it could, and I don't like that. But this year, their budget will stay the same. It's what they have budgeted.
But for future budgets and future directors and future boards and mental health boards, if they see that their levy, here's something I haven't thought about because you mentioned future. If they know that their levy is X amount moving forward, can they adjust their budgets and maybe create a more efficient process and for something to spend less money? I don't know. That's, you know,
Let's don't cut this year, then
their
let's.
budget isn't cut. The budget's still there. The program's still there. The padding of the $1.6 million surplus has been shaved.
So what is their budget? So if they're bringing in 450,000, is that their budget this year? So
Their budget was 680.
680, so they are gonna dip in 230,000 into their savings. Correct. So it would take,
Okay.
long story short, it's not an emergency this year, it's a concern. It's not an emergency. It's not something that is going to become an emergency this year.
It needs to be, it's not an emergency today, but.
Have you cut any other levies? This is the only one we cut, isn't it? The only levy that's been cut and one shouldn't have been.
Well, to answer your question, I've tried to find.
Have you cut any others?
Files. Well, on the levy spreadsheet, there isn't a 21 levy and a 22 levy, a 23 levy perspective comparison. So I don't know if anybody else has been cut. I don't remember. What I was looking for was a 23 budget versus 22 budget to see what Adbar over here.
I'm just gonna say, if you wanna build that back up, get the P-TEL taken off this county. Then they can levy whatever they want. So get a resolution out there, get some people together and get a resolution or something, get this P-TEL off this county. It'd solve a lot of it.
What does all this have to do with the ambulance levy?
Totally separate.
To approve ambulance levy?
It's a different one.
That'd be item 14.
That's the next item.
Okay, I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Julie.
So, like Barb said, they kind of manage the levies based on like the surpluses and things, and since mental health has the extra surplus, they have to they have to change the levies to kind of help the other departments get a surplus. So if they see that mental health has gone down in 2 years or something, can they readjust the levy then to help them get their surplus back up?
They're not trying to build up surpluses, they're just levying enough money to pay like for the IMRF and your work
Okay,
comp
so
and unemployment. I mean, you're just trying to levy money to cover all these bills that are gonna be coming in.
Okay, so, but what I'm saying is if mental health in a year or two,
Yeah, they can,
after they've got into their surplus, can we readjust the levy again to
sure,
help them?
sure, if you can figure out a
May
way to
have
do
to
it,
cut somewhere else
that's
in
great.
another department. Yeah, cut somebody else in, say.
Right, which is what, like 2?
Hang on, Julie. Is there a question? We can answer? We had a lot of conversations going on right here. I just want to get back to check here.
Call vote.
Won't we table this?
No.
So to get some more information, because I think somebody, I don't know unless they want to vote on, I guess, go ahead, but it's the wrong deal.
We had a motion. Barb made the motion, Don made the second to approve the levy. Any further discussion? Gary?
Who come up with the program as far as cutting it? Where did that come from?
That was a,
Bellwether put together.
I'm going to assume that Bellwether formulated that up. And it could have been, well, like previously discussed, it could have been the chair and the vice chair and Bellwether got together and looked at it. I don't know. I really don't. And shame on me, I missed the committee meeting that we had, the budget committee, so I can't answer that question with an educated answer.
And how does this vote now?
Yes, approves the levy.
To reduce it,
Yes, approves the levy as presented.
which is 450,000,
$450,000 mental health.
that's a yes for approve it, for like that. Denny's got a question.
Denny?
Don't we have a representative here from the 708 board tonight?
Yeah, I believe so.
Kenny's on it too.
Who?
Was it Kenny on it?
Kenny's on it.
Yeah, Kenny's on it. And, Rod, you're on that? Yep. And,
I'm the chair.
yeah,
Levon.
Levon.
Yeah.
Levon Cheney, she's here.
Can she speak on?
I was kinda every once in a while I'd glance at her.
Would you ask some of these people in the audience what they think?
Levon, would you speak to this? Be willing to speak to it?
It's a serious concern because of the needs of the county. The needs for mental health have risen between 34 and 40% in the last year due to the number of clients based on drug use especially. That's especially gotten high. And so the demands on our services are much greater. We're going to need every dime we can get to function. It's a real concern. Yes, you will hit that deficit. We'll take that money out of the reserves. But as those numbers continue to go up, how are we going to be able to provide the services? Because those numbers are going up. I think you could probably, the sheriff could probably tell you that. So, I mean, I understand what you're doing, but I also also fear that we'll never recoup that. You're right, Bobby, once they cut that levy, the chance of getting it back, slim and none.
I do like Barb's solution. Julie?
Didn't the sheriff tell us that the county's mental health services are going out of the county? Didn't you tell us that?
We've been utilizing, even this week, Lifelinks, who's the regional health behavioral network, and they're actually responding to calls in Shelby County personally now.
So that comes out of,
I don't know who pays for that.
We do. We do. We pay for the mental health.
so that you pay, that board pays, or that money pays for Lifelink?
So what you're saying is that there was a point in time when the health department board, the mental health department board, is that 708?
708.
Okay, the 708 had to start outsourcing services to come in. Was that an outsource, or was that a, like a state mandated thing that, or a state thing where they opened it up?
I couldn't answer that, Bobby, I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
I just know the demand is getting higher all the time. And once you cut our budget, then how do we provide services? The demand is huge.
Can we table this here, and some of you go and talk to them people and see how that works?
We were supposed to do that last month.
My concern was that it failed last month, and there's been not one meeting to discuss it. Not one. That's inexcusable to me, and it's a real concern to the 708 board that you failed it, and you're just gonna present the same thing again. Nobody talked to us. In the first place, when they set the levy, nobody talked to us. And so we were just kind of shocked by the whole thing. And then you failed, it failed, and you didn't sit down and talk about it. I'm really concerned about that. Sorry.
No, good.
Sorry.
We'll bring it back to the floor here.
Well, that's what I asked, what had been done since it failed, and why are we discussing it again?
We haven't had any meetings, or any proceedings since then.
Okay. There will be a time that those extra surpluses, you can call it $1 million or whatever it is, but you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, or thousands of dollars, I know for sure. What happens when that money is gone and they're still obligated to pay? Where do we go from there, and what do we do? And I guess I'm asking Levon there.
We cut services. If we don't have the money, we can't provide them. So once the surplus is gone.
So the county will have less services to.
Yes.
What do you expect your deficit to be?
Get rid of P-TEL.
I do like that idea.
Yes.
Do you like that?
Ready for whatever they
Get
want.
rid of people. I found the budget.
You said your services have gone up
Yeah.
30 to 40%, so the 680,000 that was budgeted, you're saying it would,
Well, our budget will cover what we need, but if we don't have the income for it, we're short $150,000. So we'll have to hit the surplus. Plus, we had to cash some CDs. We were over budget. We did have to cash some CDs to pay some things, so it's just gonna get worse.
I call for the question.
Call the vote. Is this a roll call? Roll call on approving the levy. Aye is to approve the levy as presented.
Do what now?
Aye is to approve the levy as presented. No is to not approve the levy as presented. The call to vote was made. Any other discussion before we call the
Bobby,
vote?
if it gets struck, like Barbara was saying, then there has to be a plan to fix it, to fix the entire levy among all the other departments, is that correct?
Question. What's
This
the?
board has until the December meeting to pass this tax levy. If you file nothing by the last Tuesday in December, this county gets $0, nothing. So there's time, but you can't say you're gonna discuss something and then never come together and discuss anything.
Yes, vote to leave it at 450,000, that's what you're saying.
A yes vote is to approve the levy as presented.
At 450,000.
Julie.
Before I feel comfortable voting, I want to know what is the plan so that next month we're not sitting here having the same discussion. What committee, what people are responsible for solving this problem?
That's the budget committee.
And does the budget committee meet every month?
No.
The budget committee's met once since last year.
So shouldn't we have a budget meeting between now and the next time we vote and have them contact someone from the board? Or we just have to have a plan, we just can't vote and let it go to the wind.
If the no's
I
are
was
successful.
actually, and I did, and I thought, you know what, don't. I was actually gonna go back 5 years and send you the levies, the CPIs, et cetera. I know what I would do, but it's not my call. You know, Barb's right. The budget committee was told, a couple years ago, look, we're gonna spend our reserves for liability, et cetera. We're gonna have to start levying that again. We can't cut IMRF, we can't could maybe take a little out of Social Security, but I don't think you wanna do that. Really federal aid match, in my opinion, ought to be bumped up. But the only really place I'm seeing that you could even begin to take any money from would be corporate. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, pretty much.
Yeah, you said that last time.
But the bottom line is, somebody needs to call a meeting and discuss this. And I can send out the last 5 years, and people can look at it and see, but, our CPI, this is 5%. So you need to jump on that, because you don't know what it's gonna do next year. It hasn't been 5% for,
It was 2.6 last year, wasn't it?
I think, 2.3.
2.3?
Yeah,
So it almost doubled?
and 1.4, I think, the year before, so.
How long has the levy been $600,000 they've had? How many years?
There was kind of a gentleman's agreement, so to speak, that we would levy mental health at the .15 max rate. Now,
It's been $600,000 for quite a few years.
but the rate has slowly come down because.
They're not raising it, they're keeping it level.
Yeah.
Now, these other, departments is raising theirs.
But the bottom line is, we were spending reserves for liability, work comp, and unemployment. We don't have those reserves anymore. We have to levy because we have to pay for those insurances. We can't cut IMRF. It took us years to climb out of the hole by reducing IMRF when it got reduced to $400,000.
I'll tell everybody cut wages. Could do that, I'd do it.
The budget's not cut.
Contract.
We probably won't have enough in IMRF with 900,000 levied, in my opinion, but you've got
This is
time,
funny, this
you've got
don't
time to
play
discuss
together.
this, but if you're gonna take the time to discuss it, somebody needs to call a meeting and be productive and discuss it, in my opinion.
If the no's are successful tonight, then there has to be a meeting. Somebody has to call a budget meeting, and there has to be a meeting to figure this out. Somebody has to make some hard decisions or recommend some hard decisions to the full board for a vote. Either that or the yeses are successful tonight and they dip into their 1.6 million.
I think the board chair is the chair of the budget committee.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that You got,
And
that doesn't mean that somebody else on the budget committee couldn't say, let's have a meeting.
I don't remember who's on that committee.
Well, the chair, the vice chair, you, David Switz, Lynn,
Me.
Barb. I can't remember off the top of my head the rest of them.
There should be 7 or 9.
Oh, there's several. Now, let's see.
Fix it as a whole.
Rod, Larry, Gary Gergany, yeah. 9 people.
Well, 5 out of 9 are here.
It'll take more than one meeting.
Can you call a meeting before the vote?
It'll take more than one meeting.
No, because you'd be violating NOMA.
No, yeah, we gotta strategically, to call a meeting like that without the chairman of the committee or chairman of the board calling a meeting, you gotta strategically do that without violating OMA. So, there was a call to vote. Is there any more discussion?
Jessica, would it be correct to assume that Bellwether, along with others, looked at all these hard decisions, they looked at every line, and they made a decision, or they suggested a decision, which was voted on already, that this is the path forward? Is that correct? That a lot
That
of
would
work,
be,
a
that
lot
would
of
be a
work went
correct
into that?
statement, yes. I mean, it was discussed. I know that, I don't know that they necessarily talked to, but I think Dick Lodi talked to a couple of people from Bellwether when they were here.
That probably could have gone a little better, but they put in a lot of work. We paid them to put in a lot of work to look at all those line items and figure out where there was a lot of surplus and where it could be cut, or where their levy could be cut. And revisiting that actually creates another analysis, the same analysis. Could be a little bit of different decision-making, but it creates the same analysis that has to go back and redo it.
Yeah, I mean, the committee could sit down and say, okay, let's take 50,000 from corporate and bump it up to 500,000. But, you know, like I said, you're gonna have to take from one levy to give to another.
We usually need every bit of corporate.
I got Kenny over here. Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't we, if you're gonna do it justify, take a certain percent out of each levy? Across the board to make up the difference. Don't take it out of one. Take a certain percent across the board if you gotta do that. That's the fairest way. Instead of cheating one levy and taking it all out of it, take it all out of all of them. Proportionately.
You have to have certain monies in there to cover those tort insurances and all those, that work comp and all that type of stuff, Kenny. There's nothing, we don't have any reserves in some of these things. So you have to have those monies in there to pay it.
And yeah, Gary.
Shouldn't we, if we're gonna have a meeting, should we have Bellwether there to advise us on that? I mean, we hired them and all that.
Basically, they've got your tax levy as high as you can go. So if this is what they recommend, if the board wants to juggle funds, that's gonna fall on the board. Because this is what Bellwether submitted, and it was their recommendation.
Now, what everybody is saying is there are funds that are running on a shoestring, and then there are other funds that are running quite plentifully. So moving the numbers around to keep them funded, the this is what we wind up with, to keep them funded, to keep them functioning. I am concerned of 5 years down the road with mental health. But what I don't know, and I'm sure I've seen it, but I just don't know, is where all the rest of the levies stand as far as what's in their bank account. Any answers? What's in, elaborate, question, what's in, do you have any idea what's in the rest of the line items accounts? Where to find it?
No, I don't know, but I just know we
You
had
could
to
look
let
at your,
somebody-
monthly treasurer's reports that you get in terms of the bank surplus for like your health, et cetera.
Okay.
Your social security.
Any other discussion? I had to call the vote. We'll take a roll call vote.
Kenny Barr,
No, that's,
This is to approve it as presented, $450,000.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes,
Cody Brands,
No.
Dennis Sturdivich,
No.
Jesse Durbin,
No.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
No.
Rod Height,
No.
Matt Kessler,
Yes.
Larry Lenz, Sharon Ongman,
No.
Bobby Orman,
No.
Bob Simpson,
No.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
No.
Motion fails, 11 noes to 4 yeses.
Members of that committee, be talking, call me. That has to be discussed
that's the way it is.
in short order.
There's no winner in that vote right there.
Huh?
There's no winner in that vote right there.
No, there's not.
If we do what we need to do, we look like, you know, we don't care, but we have to control the money in the county.
Number 14, 13 failed. Number 14 is discussion vote on the county ambulance levy. We didn't even broach this subject at the September meeting. Do we have any information on that?
I'm gonna make a motion that we eliminate this levy.
I'd second that. Julie made a motion to eliminate the levy.
Just to clarify, this is where when a service call's done, they get $25, $30.
Well,
per call.
actually, back in 1988, the voters of Shelby County had a referendum to approve levying for a county ambulance fund. So, it was a voter-approved referenda.
So do we have to do a referendum to get it?
So technically, to reverse it, it's gotta have a referendum.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So,
I'll
and
remove
this
mine.
levy, they used to levy $50,000 and it has been decreased. I don't know what's gonna happen with I mean, if it comes to the point that the county, I mean, I think that I emailed out the ambulance statute too. If it would come to the point that the county's not gonna be on the hook for that stipend anymore, I mean, you could at some point in time reduce this levy dramatically, but.
Julie?
I just don't see I mean, ambulance services are paid through insurance, and I get why they did it for the Coventrys in the 80s. I mean, I was told why they did it anyway, to help them bring and get their business going back in the 80s. But now, I mean, healthcare billing has changed so much. Medicare pays ambulance services, private insurance pays, you know, and we as taxpayers pay into both of those things, the majority of us do. So then if you're asking us to pay a local tax too, that's just double, more taxation on the taxpayer that I just don't agree with.
There's,
Well, can we get a motion on the floor and discuss it?
Didn't you make a motion?
She did make a motion.
No, she made a motion to eliminate
I went full
this
bore.
tax levy, so
Let's get
that
rid of
came
it.
off. That came off. So I need a motion on the floor to discuss. Sharon? Sharon makes a motion to approve the county tax levy, that's what's on the agenda. Then I had a second, I had hands up.
I'll second it.
Cody seconds. Now, we have a properly motion and second on approving of the county ambulance levy. Barb had her hand up. Barb, discussion.
Do we have to put this back on referendum then to get it off the county rolls in, Jessica?
That would take some research on my part, but I mean, the voters voted it, so probably.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
I'd say you're stuck this year.
that part of it, now, if we cut, I mean, if we didn't put anything on it, it's there, but if we don't put anything on it, that's, Cody was up.
My question is, for this year, since it's already in the budget, can we just divide it back out into the fire protection districts?
It's not how that's not how county ambulance works.
No, county ambulance levy was specifically designed for
County ambulance.
county ambulance, which we don't have a county ambulance. We have a bunch of individual agencies that operate within the county.
Yeah, but with Finley and stuff, we get paid also, correct?
That's because your taxpayers levy for ambulance for Findlay Fire. They don't pay into county ambulance. And neither do any other taxpayers that live in a fire protection districts that levy for ambulance.
Some don't levy for an ambulance.
Several don't.
Right.
It's a confusing rat's nest.
It sounds like the county just needs to get out of it.
I had Lynn give me the.
Well, I was talking, yes, but what Cody said about the taxing districts for the fire districts, we are taxed, there are like two different ways and that they're doing this, but Shelbyville and the surrounding areas, I believe that that's what the referendum is for. So you're being taxed up there north for the fire department, but in Shelbyville and other areas, they are not being taxed, is that correct? And I think it's two separate, because like Tower Hill is under fire district, you're under fire district.
They do not
One or the other.
do an ambulance thing, we pay it to the county in Tower Hill, in the fire
Okay.
district. After a year, since it was enacted.
Don?
Bob's right, that if you, like Prairie, I'm in Prairie Township, and Prairie Township is part of the Sturgeon Fire and Ambulance District. My tax bills for anything, any property that I have that's within the Prairie Town, or it's in the Sturgeon Fire and Ambulance District, that's the only tax that I pay. I have some other property that's not in a taxing district that has a fire and ambulance district, then I have taxes that are paid to the Shelby County
Yes.
Ambulance District, or ambulance.
Thank you.
That's the way my head's
Barb?
Well, we reduced the levy to 36,000. So if what they submit goes over that amount that's in that budget, it's gonna come out of the general fund anyway. We're gonna have to pay it no matter what. So it's gonna, the county's gonna have to pay it. So even with reducing it to 36,000, it's gonna have to come out of that general fund.
What is the usual
There are
consumption?
surplus right now, but those surpluses are being spent down.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Sharon?
I'm on the ambulance committee and I don't know anything, so. We've had one meeting, so that's, if we approve the levy, the 36,598, that's the money that's for this $25 or whatever. But we can't eliminate it because we have to have a referendum. So what's our choice then? I mean, we have to have it then, right?
Well, you could levy less. I mean,
Oh,
if
okay.
the board decided this year to pass this levy, and they decided next year, I mean, after seeing how this next year goes, they could say, okay, we're only gonna levy 10,000, we're only gonna levy 5,000.
Okay. And to do a referendum, that's like a year away to do a referendum or something. I mean, it takes a while to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So, before you defund something, you probably ought to pull it off the books before you defund it.
Okay.
So if there's monies left over and the voters decide to pull the county ambulance fund off the books, what happens to the funds that are there?
I would assume, I really couldn't answer that. I would assume that somehow that money would potentially, I mean, could it be possibly refunded to the taxpayers? I
think
don't
that's what
know,
you'd
that'd be
have
a
to
lot of
do.
work. Could it just be swept into your, general fund? I don't know, because that's a special levy. So I don't know, that would, once again, require some research.
Hey, Bobby.
Rod,
So, Finley, they wouldn't be paying for that, is that right? Since they have a fire and an ambulance, and like Mawiko just has a fire.
right,
It
so if
wouldn't
you,
do us any good up there.
But Mawikwa has a referenda on,
Oh, it is there this year? Okay.
yep.
Okay.
I heard call to vote on discussion and vote on the approval of the county ambulance levy.
At that figure, 36.
Sharon made the motion, Cody seconded it, and
What was the motion?
to approve the county ambulance levy. Well, it was 36,000.
36,598.32.
So it sounds like if there's gonna be some sort of abolishment of the fund, it's gotta be done with steps to follow. Anyway, all in, roll call. I is to approve the county levy, the ambulance levy.
Kenny Barr,
No.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands,
No.
Dennis Sturdivich,
Present.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
No.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
No.
Matt Kessler,
No.
Larry left, Sharon Ongman,
No.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Robert Simpson,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes
Motion failed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 1 present, 6 nays.
12 ayes to.
So it'll be back on the
It'll be back
agenda
on-
next month.
So, wait,
We've had a lot of good discussion.
I just have a question. So, so that when it is on, when the budget committee meets to adjust the mental health, or to discuss the mental health levy, can the ambulance, where they could possibly reduce the ambulance?
You know, they could do whatever they wanted, but I don't think that anybody knows what's gonna happen in this next year, in terms of ambulance service. And, I mean, the statute says that the county can help provide ambulance service. So, you know, I don't know if Abbott or whomever's gonna say, hey, we want a piece of the pie. So, I mean, you do have reserves, but I don't know. I'd hate to see you totally do away with something. I mean, you could always say, hey, let's reduce it to 25,000 and see what happens this next year. And, but I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. If we're going to, if it fails and we need to discuss it again next meeting, we need to have a plan for what we're gonna do so that we have a resolution to this problem next meeting.
And once again, you've got till the December meeting. If nothing is filed by the last Tuesday in December, I will put a 0 in for the funds. So,
Done.
Okay, so we pass it or we don't pass it, but if what Barb said is right, if Abbott or whoever turns in all these bills and we exceed the money that comes in, then it comes out of the general fund anyway,
right,
correct?
that's correct.
So we're gonna have to, we gotta pay it. So we might as well approve the dumb thing as tonight and been done with it, but people don't see it that way. Plus the fact, this money can't, if we wipe this out, we can't add that to help offset the other
No,
levy either, because it's a separate levy.
Right.
So it doesn't affect the whole county.
Right. And we have some small ambulance services that are struggling to keep going now.
And this helps them out.
Moving on to item 15. Discussion and vote to approve the amended reimbursement schedule for Shelby County Travel Ordinance 16-3-0. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance? Oh, hey, look, there's what I was looking for. Sharon makes a motion to approve the ordinance,
One second.
travel ordinance. Barb seconds. Any discussion?
Basically, isn't this bringing a lot of this up to kind of what state's standards are now?
I believe so. Any other discussion, questions? Barb's rifling through papers. You got a question?
No,
Nope.
no,
All right.
let's get this show on the road.
All in favor? All in favor, what?
Potentially spending money at some point in time.
Yep. All right. Roll call, please.
Kenny Barr,
Yeah.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands,
Yes.
Dennis Sturdivich,
Yes.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Matt Kessler,
Yes.
Sharon Ongman,
Yes.
Bobby Orman,
Yes.
Robert Simpson,
Yes.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. 14 ayes.
All right, moving on to item 16, committee reports. Is there any committees that are here that would like to report?
We haven't heard anything of airport, what's been going on out there for a long time, anybody know?
Hey, I was at the airport committee. They had a fly-in luncheon for people, they advertised, they said our, Chamber of Commerce was not very nice with them to advertise for them. They only had 7 people show up for their luncheon. But they did say that Scarecrow Days and the Balloon Fest was a big success out there, and that was a big success for them. So that's what they were discussing, and getting some repairs on some of the hangar doors and replace hangar doors. And to replace the hangar doors, like $50,000, they'd say.
Yeah. One piece or 2 piece doors are very expensive.
And also they wanna get new lawnmower for next year.
Any other committees that would like to? Hearing none, we'll move on to chairman updates. The chairman is absent, so there's no updates. Chairman appointments. You have a listing there, Pete Dove to Drainage Commissioner, combined number 1, Clarksburg and Shelbyville Townships for a 3-year term. Richard Harley, Drainage Commissioner, Union Drainage District, number 1, Pickaway and Tots Point Townships. You've got them listed there. I'd entertain a motion on Pete Dove for Drainage Commissioner.
Here.
Jesse Gerben makes the motion. Any second? Kenny seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Entertain a motion for Richard Harley to Drainage District Commissioner, Drainage Commissioner, Union Drainage District 1 in Pickaway and Tots Point Townships.
I'll make that motion.
Bob Simpson makes the motion for Richard Harley. Is there a second? John Tate seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. L. Curtis Corzine, Drainage Commissioner, Union Drainage District, number 1, Townships of Flat Branch and Assumption.
I'll make that motion.
Matt makes a motion, Rod seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ramiro Estrada to the 911 Safety Sector for 911 Board as a Safety Sector for 1-year term. Any a second? Rod Height seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. I'd like to make a motion that we approve or appoint Brian McReynolds to the ETSB 911 as a Public Safety Sector for 1-year term. Can I get a second?
I'll take.
I had Denny second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Anybody like to make a motion for Troy Agnew to be the ETSB 911 Public Safety Sector for 2-year term?
So moved.
Lynn Williams, seconded by Denny. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Aye.
Who's on there? Cody and Bobby.
And Sharon.
Okay. Perfect.
So that's 3 less 15, so that's 12.
I think there's only 14 on there. There's only 14 on there.
So 3 less 14 is 11. That's half. Is that a failed motion? It's not a majority vote. I think that's a failed motion.
Why is it failed?
Because it's 11 out of 22. That's why several other motions have failed. They didn't get the 12 votes needed to pass.
You don't have to have just the majority of who's here, it has to be over the full board,
It's the majority of the board.
even if half the board's not here.
That's correct.
Never heard of it.
How are we elected? How are we passing everything else then?
We haven't been passing everything else.
Okay, maybe we restate that, but
Okay.
A nine, or anything below 11 is a failing vote.
I don't know.
he's fine.
We don't normally have this many people absent.
I know, but I was
Well, and
thinking
it says,
that
because it says that 22, a quorum would be 12, and a majority of a quorum would be 7.
Then why are we here?
We have a quorum of 12.
yeah, but nothing's getting passed. So,
Would've been nice to have a state's attorney here.
Double check that.
So we will address that. Somebody will address that, board chair, somebody. I'd entertain a motion to appoint Robert Orman to the 911 board for a 3-year term.
So
So move.
Matt and Don, Matt motion, Don seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to 19, correspondences. I have none. Old business, anybody like to address old business? The only thing in old business I would like to touch on is we heard about 30 things listed in public body comment that was all old business that has not been addressed yet. So if you heard it, write it down, think about it, bring it to a committee, let's address these things and move on. Don?
I move we pay the claims.
Sorry?
I move we pay the claims.
Oh, so we're moving on to 21. Don makes a motion to approve the claims. Barb seconds that. Any discussion on approval of the claims? Don?
Was there a claim in there, Jessica, for Bellwether? $6,000.
That was the second payment for the $12,000 budget services for 20.
Okay, that had nothing to do with this
No.
thing that failed tonight?
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that gets full with that for what didn't go tonight.
Was there, was in the claims, was there a $186 bill for travel expenses for the UCCI meeting?
There was a
Purchasing?
bill in there for UCCI, yes.
No, the board chair.
For the board chair?
For
For Brian, yeah. Well, I don't think it was 186. I think it was 169 something.
Okay.
And the county was reimbursed $300 for his mileage, which he did not submit, and then $400 for him attending the Galena meeting, which we received the check for, which I had an email.
That's why I'm asking the questions is.
Yeah.
So, was the claim in, because I didn't have time to look through all the claims, the claim was in there?
Yes, it was.
Yes, I did see it.
Yes, it was.
So my whole point to asking the questions on the claim is, that is a claim against the county that is not included in the reimbursement of the board. The reimbursement resolution, compensation resolution, that's what I'm looking for. So I don't feel that that claim needs to be paid.
Why wouldn't you pay it? If we don't go to it, then we don't get any kind of reimbursement from UCCI. So it's to the county's benefit for someone to attend this.
It is, I understand that, but there's no definition for, in the compensation resolution, that anything above and beyond meetings, county board meetings, if I remember right.
What's a training?
It's not a county board meeting.
But it's a training for, like every other office, they go to trainings and stuff.
I'm looking for the. I might be able to find it.
Used to, there'd be about 10 of us going, but we already were, the county was reimbursed. So why would you want to not send him that we actually learn something from it? You know, encourage your members to go to it.
Yeah.
And under the travel policy, the county board members are included in the travel policy as well, and have been since it was passed and became effective January 1st of 2017.
Okay, so that's where this comes into play. That's fine. The one thing I know of is, that's why I asked the question. So approval of the claims, we had
Don and Barb.
Dawn and Barb approve the claims. Discussion's been had, any other questions, discussion?
Maybe one of the second.
We're good to go. Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Kenny Barr,
Yes.
Barbara Bennett,
Yes.
Cody Brands, Dennis Sturdivich,
Yes.
Jesse Durbin,
Yes.
Julie Edwards,
Yes.
Gary Gergany,
Yes.
Rod Height,
Yes.
Matt Kessler,
Yes.
Sharon Ogman,
Yes.
Bobby Warman,
No.
Robert Simpson,
Yep.
Don Tate,
Yes.
Lynn Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes, 13 ayes, 1 nay, Orman.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
second by Julie. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, have a good night.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Rod.
Welcome aboard.
I appreciate your concerns.
I see where